Welcome to Studio D on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad. And now, here's your host, Shiloh Sellers.
Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of Sooner Sports Pad. I'm your host, Shiloh Sellers, and standing right next to me are my two trusty analysts, Sam Brown and Christian Unling. Guys, who is joining us tonight?
Today we are joined by students who took a break out of studying, and we are so appreciative for it. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's midterm week. You know, these guys got a lot of stuff to do, so we appreciate them coming. And they're in for quite a treat. We've got two guests from Sherry Cole's women's basketball team. That's forward Mandy Simpson and licensed sharpshooter, I think, Taylor Robertson.
And later today, Sooner Sports Pad Cal Day takes a look into the changes brought about by Sooner defensive coach Alex Grinch.
And in Face-Off, Christian and I will dive into the history books to talk about our favorite OU Texas games.
Uh-oh.
Well, this past Saturday, OU hit the road for their game against the Kansas Jayhawks. The Sooners had an unusual first quarter, but soon found their rhythm, beating the Bluebirds 45-20. They haven't lost a true road game in 1,828 days. That's 5 years, guys. Ramondre Stevenson led OU's run game with 109 yards on only 5 carries. That's an astounding average of 21.8 yards per carry. Astounding. I mean, no need to say more because the numbers speak for themselves, people. On the other side of the ball, we had a disruptive defense with 3 Sooners recording a sack on KU's Carter Stanley, including Ronnie Perkins, Brian Asamoah, and Pat Fields, all for 5 yards or more. We were at K-Visto Field when it all went down. What stood out to you guys on Saturday?
And you talked about Ramondre Stevenson with 5 carries and 109 yards. I think that is a facet of the most impressive thing I saw. It's the ability for these skill guys to make plays with the ball in their hands. They've been electric to this date. CeeDee Lamb, Ramondre Stevenson, Trey Sermon, they're all doing it. Whenever they get the ball, the first guy that comes to tackle never makes the play. They always are making the first guy miss, and it's so impressive to see. If you're a skill guy, your job is to make plays with the ball in your hands. And that is exactly what these guys are doing. And you're seeing it from Jalen Hurts, Trey Sermon, everybody on this team. It's so amazing to see. And the receivers, only 3 guys aren't catching double-digit averages every time they touch the ball. 3 guys. Everybody else, every time they touch the ball, 10 yards or more. It's been so impressive to watch, and it's only going to elevate this team as they go further down the stretch.
I mean, talk about spreading the ball around. 13 players caught 1 pass. No player caught more than 2. That's an impressive stat right there to me, honestly.
They're good. We knew it.
Yeah. The defense, another solid performance against the Jayhawks. They've looked great at times. They've struggled sometimes. But one aspect that's always been consistent so far has been the pass rush. They are getting pressure on the quarterback. So far this season, the Sooners are 50th in the FBS with nearly 2.5 sacks per game. That part of the defense was very hit or miss last year. But this season, they've recorded at least 3 sacks in over half of their games so far this year. One thing that is consistent from last year, though, they're getting production across the board. Jalen Redmond, Ronnie Perkins, and Brian Asamoah are tied for the team lead with 2 sacks apiece, but 9 players are in the sacks column for Oklahoma. A lot of that has to do with the scheme that Alex Grinch has put in place. With all the depth on this squad, a lot of players are getting a lot of chances to get some reps and make a play. So that's going to be a huge key into OU Texas this weekend, given Sam Ehlinger's mobility. But based on what I've seen so far, I'm very confident they're going to be able to disrupt the quarterback in Dallas.
Yeah, we talked about Ronnie Perkins being good and elevating his game, but I had no idea how much he would. This entire defensive line is so improved.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of the defense, our very own Kelsey Bickerstaff got to catch up with Kenneth Murray earlier today. Let's hear what they had to say.
Kelsey Bickerstaff here with linebacker Kenneth Murray. How was y'all's performance this weekend against Kansas?
Pretty good. Didn't like the way that we finished, so that's really the main focus going into this week is just finishing and making sure that we finish out the game strong. So definitely a lot of improvement, but definitely happy to get a W, but definitely got to finish better.
How important is it to have a challenge like that heading into this week's rivalry game?
I think it's really important, just realizing that there's so much that we can get better at. That really just leads to a lot more motivation for us as a group to really get those things right going into this big game so we can go out there and dominate.
How much of last year's Cotton Bowl game is motivating for this year's game, or is it a whole new mindset?
I think it's kind of a whole new mindset, a whole new approach. I feel like That team last year was a different team than what this team is this year. So definitely a different approach. Definitely going out there trying to attack it. Definitely trying to go out there and dominate this week.
How important is this game to you, being from Texas?
Man, it's surreal, to be honest. It's going to be an emotional game come Saturday, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put my heart out on that field.
Well, enough about the men. Let's talk about the ladies. OU volleyball also battled the Jayhawks this past week, and OU softball kicked off their fall play. Christian, Sam, how'd they do?
You know, last year this volleyball team got out to a Big 12 play and start at 1-3 record. This season, 3-1. They've been beating teams down in the Big 12, and that is exactly what happened against the Kansas Jayhawks. This team took on Kansas Jayhawks and defeated the side 3-1 to capture their 800th program victory. 800. That is elite company to be in. 3 girls on this team racked up triple doubles: Kaiten Kinley, Kylie McLaughlin, and Paige Anderson. Let me rattle off some stats for you. The Sooners dropped the first set, but won the next 3, 25-21, 25-16, and 25-17. They didn't leave this any room for hope for this Kansas team. 30 unanswered sets to start out with. It was exactly like the football team. Didn't start out hot, but closed the rest of the game. And the soccer team also takes on Kansas, so I'm sure the Jayhawks are tired of hearing about the Sooners' name. But
yeah, hopefully keep the trend going. Meanwhile, one of the most popular sports on campus started off their season this weekend. Patty Gasso and the softball team was playing in the Fall Classic in Norman. Easy blowout wins in all 4 of their games on the tournament. The competition was clearly not up to the Sooners level, and they made sure everyone knew. Oklahoma took home an easy pair of wins on Friday over Trinity Valley Community College and Seward Community College, and they kept that momentum going on Saturday, opening up play with an 11-1 run rule win over Seminole State, and to wrap up the weekend and the tournament, another 11-1 run rule win, this time over Connors State. Jocelyn Alla with 3 home runs in their first 4 games. That's a great way to start the season. Not bad, not too bad. And now they've got a nice break before they host the North Texas Mean Green next Wednesday here in Norman.
I don't think they're going to lose this season. This softball team is nice.
That's an easy pick to make. Yeah, it's a hot play.
Alrighty, well, Sooner Sports Pad's Cal Day is going to take us in depth to the changes on the defense that have happened since the last Red River Showdown when we return. This Saturday, Alex Grinch and the new Speed D will make their Cotton Bowl debut. Sports Pad's Cal Day takes a look on how they got there and what we can expect from the OU defense when they take the field.
The games that haunt you.
Sonny Michelle will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
The play seared into your memory.
There goes Jacobs. Head of steam. Lowers the shoulder and scores.
The heartbreaking results.
Kick is away. It's got the distance, and it is good.
Finally, Lincoln Riley had enough. Last season's loss in the Cotton Bowl eventually led to the hiring of Alex Grinch to re-energize OU's once storied defense. Approaching the halfway point of the regular season, so far Grinch's squad has improved in every defensive category from a year ago.
The biggest thing, though, is the mentality that he preaches.
One of the biggest upgrades is the play of the secondary, a unit that returns starting cornerbacks Trey Brown and Parnell Motley.
When you look around, you see all one motion, everybody going hard. You see fast moving. It's like a factory, everybody working. You just look around, everybody doing their job.
Making their mark are 2 new starters, sophomores Delarian Turner-Yill and Pat Fields.
But it just does a great job of, keeping us focused and allowing us to see things from different perspectives.
Another Sooner making waves is Jaden Davis. The true freshman is becoming a household name and already has 1 interception on the year. His teammates are impressed.
He's a guy that I was just happy to play with before he even got here. That guy is just, he knows what he brings to the table. He understands the predicament he's in a lot.
Grinch is making an impact on his roster on and off the field. Each morning, Grinch sends motivational text messages to his defensive squad.
It gets your mind right. It lets you know his standard and how we have to play. We have to elevate our level every day. It's something every day, something different, and it's consistent. And it's always to push us to a higher level, never to be complacent or comfortable with where we're at.
Now there's a lot on the line this Saturday, a statement conference game, bragging rights, and even a golden hat. But for Grinch and his defense, it's a chance to make a statement in the season's first big test. Cal Day, Sooner Sports Pad.
Well, one of them finished last season averaging 5 points per game and assists per game. The other made an OU freshman record with 105 three-pointers in a single season. Help me welcome forward Mandy Simpson and guard Taylor Robertson.
There you go. Hey, thanks for coming on, guys. Obviously, you guys are just now starting to kick off your season. What's the excitement level like getting back at it?
Yeah, I think we're just really excited to get back out there, and we have some loose ends from last year, so I think we're ready to tie those up and get back at it with our team and our new freshmen.
You've got a year under your belt. What's going to be different from last year?
Just the experience. Even though we didn't do so well last year, but we learned a lot, and we'll be ready to use that this year.
Taylor, Shiloh talked about it a little bit before she introduced you guys. 3.5 threes last year per game, second in the country and set the Oklahoma freshman record.
Yeah.
What inspired you to kind of model your game around the deep ball?
She's a shooter.
Just from growing up, just being in the gym all the time, a gym rat, it just developed my three-point shot and let it carry me where it can go.
And Mandy, how do you feel like your game has produced under Coach Cole?
Yeah, I think Coach Cole has just really built my confidence. There's so many like different dynamics of the game that I didn't even like really know existed until I got here. So just like doing the little things is what I've always done. So just like really perfecting my screening angles, rebounding, being a leader is really what I've grown with under Coach Cole.
Okay. You talked about it a little bit earlier, tying the knots. You know, after last season, I think you guys are kind of flying under the radar this year in a deep Big 12. Is that something you guys have kind of taken to as an advantage, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we're going to thrive being in the underdogs for sure, and I don't think anyone really knows how hard we've worked in the off season, so we have an advantage for sure. Kind of going to sneak up on them. So.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. Excited for that. All right, it's time for an audience question. Shiloh, who do we got there?
I'm here with my friend Raina, and she's got a question for y'all.
What's your pregame ritual?
That's a good question. Great question.
Well, I have too many to say, but my main one is I do the same shooting routine before every game on the floor.
Every single game?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mandy?
Yeah. I'm not superstitious in any way, but probably like FaceTime my mom on the way to the game, of course, you know, and then just probably pray before getting scripture.
Well, coming up next, Sam and Christian are going to try to win the crowd's heart in this week's face-off. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks to our Cornerstone Television partners, OU Medicine, Anheuser-Busch, OU Extended Campus, and our community partners, Landers Auto Group, Devon Energy, Coca-Cola, and OU Medicine.
Welcome back. It's time for a face-off. You know how this goes. Pay attention because you will be picking the winner at the end. Ready or not, it's face-off time. Your first question is, what was your favorite past OU Texas game?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I really had to go deep in my memory bank for this one, but it was a recent one. It was 2018, the regular season game, and I'll tell you why. Typically, you'd go with a game that was a very deep margin, but you're not glued to your seat in those games. And close games, comebacks, that's when you are. And I'll tell you why. Throughout the game, it felt like the chips were down. It seemed like Texas had the momentum going into halftime. They go up 7 points, 3 scores right out of the third quarter. It seems like all the chips are down. People are outside the Cotton Bowl, not really attentive to the game. And then we go down the field, score a touchdown. You're like, wait a minute, there's still time in this game. We got a chance. Kyler takes one to the house. And you're like, wait a minute, it's a 7-point game. And then Hollywood takes this 77-yard touchdown to the house, and it's a tie game with like 2 minutes to go. I know exactly where I was sitting. I was as hyped as could possibly be. Unfortunately, we didn't come out in the end, but those are the comebacks, that feeling of hope, those are the ones you really remember, and that I remember exactly where I was, and that's why it's my favorite OU Texas rivalry. We did go back the second time in the Big 12 championship, beat them.
That's a win.
So, you know, we had to exact our revenge. We did.
Hey, I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of the Sooner-born, Sooner-bred guy. My parents both went to school here. And so, personally, I like the games where OU comes in and just blows Texas out of the water. So I'm going to go to 2012 for my pick when OU walks into the Cotton Bowl and beats Texas 63-21. Landry Jones and company tallied over 675 yards against a Longhorn defense that was, supposedly elite, apparently not. That was also the coming out party for Blake Bell. The Belldozer had 4 of Oklahoma's 6 rushing touchdowns on the day. Texas's offense was absolutely overpowered by the Sooners defense, holding them to just 289 yards. And my favorite stat from this game, at halftime, the score, 36-2, the Sooners leading. A 34-point margin at halftime, 3rd largest margin of victory in a Red River game since 2000. And I remember where I was for that game too. And I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty happy. I'll be pretty happy if Jalen walks in, pulls out a 40-point win. That's for sure.
Disagree.
All right, guys, I'm still here with Raina, and she has your second face-off question.
What's up?
Which former Sooner has been performing the best in the NFL?
Oh. That's a great question.
Plain and simple, I'm a guy that believes in production over potential. That's why I'm going to have to go with Marquise Hollywood Brown. This guy has been balling out with the Ravens. He really has been. This guy Hollywood went into the Ravens offense after a depleted Marco Crabtree left the #1 receiver spot and has taken it and run with that position. He's got 304 yards on the season in 4 games, averaging 70 yards per game. It is so impressive. He's the second most dynamic player on his team, and that's only behind Lamar Jackson, who is arguably the most dynamic player in the league. Hollywood Brown is so impressive. He's better than Mark Andrews on this Ravens team, and I think he's the best Sooner to come in a while.
Wow.
What did you got?
That's a hot take right there. Hey, they say numbers never lie, but that isn't really always the case. In my mind, the best Sooner this season has been Kyler Murray. Now with this, what I want you to do is take out their 1-3-1 record and throw it out the window. That doesn't matter. What we're seeing right now with Kyler Murray is flashes of what the National Football League will look like 5 or 10 years from now. While he's had those obvious rookie quarterback mistakes, he's also shown flashes that show why scouts were absolutely drooling over his potential. This year's #1 pick leads all first-year quarterbacks and is 9th in the league at just over 278 yards per game. And now that he's more comfortable running Cliff Kingsbury's offense, he's starting to make plays with his legs, like we saw at Oklahoma. He's averaging 63 rushing yards over his last 3 games and has scored a rushing touchdown in each of the last 2 games. Still plenty of room for improvement for the Cardinals and not a lot of help around him. But if you've seen Kyler Murray play, you know the sky's the limit for that guy. He has been very productive so far.
He's good. Hollywood's great.
All right,
He's
interesting takes so far. Now I want to see your viral videos.
Yeah.
We need to see this.
Yeah, if you were born in the 20th century, I'm sure you remember the 2005 Super Bowl, Donovan McNabb against the Patriots. Midfield, he lets it fly all over the field. This Virginia Tech guy, not the same stage. You could just take a seat on the sideline, my guy.
Where is he? Where is he?
Oh. I understand long Fridays leading to long Saturdays, but come on, man. If we had a come on, man segment, that would be #1 video. I promise.
Hey, at least they got it all out before the snap. That's all that matters.
I hope so.
There's a ton of iconic marching bands in college sports. You've got the Ohio State Band, the Pride of Oklahoma here in Norman. But this video is unlike anything I've ever seen. This is one of the drummers from the University of Michigan Marching Band playing the toms upside down, excuse me. I've got a lot of questions. First of all, why did he sign up for this? Second of all,
because it's cool.
Why did the person who's holding his legs sign up for this? Third of all, how does the blood not all rush to the brain? Fourth of all, is he even looking at the drums? Is he just... He's just staring at the ground. Pretty unbelievable. That's talent right there.
It takes practice, for sure.
All right, guys, it's time to crown your champion. Let me hear it if Christian was your favorite.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now let me hear it if your favorite was Sam.
We need a decibel meter.
I mean, you already heard it. Sam won that one, and I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, last week, they literally crushed the challenge. This week, we're going to see how well they can rap when we return. Looking ahead this week, this Thursday, OU soccer will look for a Sooner sweep when they battle the Kansas Jayhawks. Then men's golf will be in action on Friday for the Big 12 Match Play Championship down in Texas. And on Saturday, you can catch OU volleyball at Texas for their Red River Showdown. And rounding out the week, soccer will kick it with the Baylor Bears on Sunday right here in Norman. Now it's time for the challenge of the week. We're getting spooky with it. We're gonna see how well they can rap and create a mummy partner. We've already kind of described the rules, but you guys will have a minute. I'm gonna be judging on how much of the roll you use and how much of the body you cover.
You gotta get
All right.
You gotta get one down.
Ready? Yes. On your marks. Let's roll. All right, guys, you got 1 minute. Make every second count here. We're spinning away. We have a couple breaks from each team, but I love the basketball girls are starting from the bottom, working their way up.
Come on.
It seems like they are getting it done. Taylor she's like a record. She's spinning away. I love the suit and toilet paper look, Sam. I love it. All right, guys, you got 30 seconds left on the clock. This is such a close game so far. I'm really thoroughly impressed in y'all's rap ability, honestly. All right, let's see how much of the roll. It looks like the basketball girls are about to be finished. All right, guys, we've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what a winner looks like. That's a whole roll, people. A whole roll. Eat that toilet paper for you. We got a winner. All right, guys, make sure to be following us on Twitter and on Facebook. We'll see you next Monday right here. Same place. Good night.